Social media, a former Minister of Communications and Digital Economy, Issa Pantami, is again being accused of sponsoring banditry. This is as he is also blaming security agencies for failing to effectively implement the NIN SIM card policy. So 7 members of a family were kidnapped at their residence in the Buhari Area Council of Abuja on January 9, a father and his 6 daughters. The kidnappers had released their father to go get 60 million naira for the release of his girls. Mossad on Friday, which was the deadline for the ransom, the eldest of them was killed when their father couldn't return with the money, to warn that the remaining 5 would suffer same thing if there is further delay. Now, Nabiha Al-Qadriya was a 400-level student of the Ahmadu Bello University. That was the one that was killed. On social media, there were already calls for crowdfunding to raise the new amount of 100 million naira, that's 20 million naira each for each of the girls, before Pantami was called out over the failed plan of his initiative. Soon, he disclosed that he got a friend who is donating 50 million naira for the rescue of the remaining 5, and it was being queried on the space of social media. Let's see some reactions to his tweets. Andy says, with the NIN, Oga Pantami spent FG money to force Nigeria. He can't track these criminals. He is raising funds to give kidnappers who are using SIM cards to talk to him on how much they want. Kai. And then for TikTok, she says 60 million naira to be paid to kidnappers with no traces. Why BVN? Why NIN? No microchip inserted in the bag of money for easy tracking. I want those kids home so badly, but kidnappers can outsmart the whole system. And more thought is coming from Saddam, who says, you are openly funding terrorism. You can't beat the allegations. You and everyone that has donated to terrorist kidnappers need to be arrested and interrogated. So because of all the questions that were on the space of social media, he soon came back, responded to one of them, mentors, and he says, thank you for the question. The NIN SIM policy has been working. However, the relevant institutions fighting criminality are to be requested to ensure they utilize it effectively when a crime is committed. Lack of utilizing it is the main problem, not the policy. So he's blaming security outfits right here for being responsible for his failed policy. Okay, so let's see how they would take that up. Such a sad one right there. I do hope that whatever happens, the 6 girls, the remaining 5 girls come out safe, because the other one, the eldest, has been buried. Now, a female army officer, Ruth Ogunleye, was accused or has accused 3 senior colleagues of non-stop sexual harassment, intimidation, and threat to life. In a video she shared on TikTok, she said her trouble started when she was posted to the Cantonment Medical Center, Ojo, Lagos State, the place she met her nightmare, as she describes the 3 of them. Now, she claims that the senior officers have intensified pressure, threatening to dismiss her from the army, denied her promotion courses, and rejected her army pass request for refusing to give in to them. Let's take a listen to Ruth and come back for some thought.
I can't endure again. Before coming out to make this video, I can't endure again. And if anything should happen to me, please hold Colonel IB Abdulkarim responsible. Colonel GS Ogo and Brigadier General IB Abdulkarim, IB Shilibo. Hold these 3 people responsible. They don't want me to grow. They don't want my progress. This is what happened. This man has been my nightmare in the army. If I'm lying, I have all evidence. I have evidence against him, and I have weaknesses. He wrote to DOA 3 good times to board me out of army. He freezed my account for 1 year. He freezed my account February last 13 date. No salary. I cried to some senior officers. I wrote a petition using section 179 of the Armed Forces Act. Anyone who's trying to intervene, he will tell them I have mental illness. There's the day he locked me, he injected me, he almost raped me. When they caught him and he said I have mental illness, he took me to psychiatry hospital and he went to lock me up there. He locked me up there for 1 good month without any medication. He denied me access to military courses. And meanwhile, they know very well that my progression in the army determined my course attendance. No course. Now they've given me admission in medical school. They refuse to release me.
All right, so that's Ruth Ogunleye right there on TikTok. For John, he says the Minister of Women Affairs as well as the Chief of Army Staff should please look into the allegations being made by this young lady. The credibility of the Nigerian army is at stake and the truth must be uncovered. It is essential to protect the rights and well-being of all individuals involved in such cases. The young lady deserves a fair and unbiased inquiry into her allegations. And then for Etim, he says this is a sad development. People that supposed to be fighting Boko Haram are fighting for sex. And Baron says, sadly, she will be dealt with, even though there is 95% probability that 95% probability that what she's saying is the truth. And then on the other side is Musa, who says this gender is so favored when it comes to emotional blackmailing sometimes. It's so annoying how 99% of people here agreed to our claims as if they were there. We call on the right authorities for proper investigations, and he tagged Nigerian army. Of course, they've also reacted and he said they would definitely look into it, asking for time for investigation. But then now to politics, the governor of Plateau State, Caleb Mutfwang, was one of those to retain his seat on Friday after the Supreme Court ruling. Now, after the judgment, they all granted interviews, and in one of the ones that he granted, that's Governor Mutfwang did, he hailed the president, Bola Ahmed Tinubu, for not using his powers against him. As he said, partly, he says for African president not to intrude into the political space, we must say kudos to Mr. President. The Nigerian president is one of the most powerful presidents, and if he decides to use his power wrongly and intrude into political arena, it could unsettle a lot of things. And then he continued to say, but today, I believe he allowed their lordships to their work, and they did it according to the dictates of conscience and according to law, and I'm proud of them. This has generated conversations on the space of social media, and Gilan says he could but didn't. The honest truth, you can't imagine the kind of power at the center. It's been like that and will continue unless the constitution is amended. Who appoints these judges, by the way? Ask yourselves. And that Niger guy says, how can a sitting governor openly admit that the president controls the Supreme Court, another supposed independent arm of government? No wonder he left his people in the pool of their blood to go become a houseboy in Lagos. He says he was going there to brief Mr. President. And the maker says, you agreed to deliver the state to him in 2027, Abi. And more thought is coming from Queen B, who says this is a huge indictment on the independence of the Nigerian judiciary, and the members of the judiciary must come clean on this.